We're live! Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I think by
Hello.
now you might know us because we've been together exactly 6 months ago, I'll have to say. So, my name is Andrea, I'm product manager at Canonical, and we are here to celebrate Charmed Kubeflow beta. The latest release, it's 1.8. It's supposed to go live in a couple of weeks, but I won't make it any longer with the mystery. And I would like you first to introduce someone very important from the team. Noha, thank you for joining me. I know it's quite late for you.
Thank you, Andrea. Happy to be here. Noha, I'm a software engineer at Canonical in the MLOps team for a bit more than a year now, I think. I'm very enthusiastic about AI, I would say, and I've been the release lead for 1.8, and we made it with beta.
I was about to say that I think you're being modest. You've been here for more than a year. You've joined another live stream with us. You've been leading this release, and that's my first question for you. How is it to be a release lead? I know this is a practice that we took from the Kubeflow community, actually, where Daniela is, I'll have to say, rocking it. So, how was the experience for you?
Yeah, it's a very enriching experience. I was definitely inspired by the Kubeflow community since I also joined the release team, and their release process is very well organized, and the enthusiasm for open source is just very inspiring. So I learned a lot, not just in the technical aspect, but also in terms of people coordination.
I'll give now a bit from the house. You joined us as a graduate engineer a year ago. Do you think that leading a release is an experience that would help someone early in their career?
Yes, absolutely. So I encourage anyone to join open source communities. Um, you don't need to start with a lot of experience. You just need to jump in and you learn as you go. And it will definitely help you grow your career.
I think you're right, and I'll have to say this that at the beginning, whenever you join a community, even if it's an open source one, it can be a bit of a scary experience, right? But as you get used to it, you easily gain confidence, and then you have access to so many people that actually can teach you, can show you around, can guide you, and also inspire you. Um, I will just say once again, we are live, so don't hesitate. Ask away your questions about the latest release, about Kubeflow in general, about open source as well, because in Canonical we do have open source in our DNA, and it's something that I think we all believe in. I'll keep moving because I'm also trying to be conscious of time. This is a slide that I just kept uh, updating every release. The history of Kubeflow goes back in 2019. It's a project that Google started back then. And in Canonical, we joined the boat quite quickly. We started contributing, we started distributing the project. On our side, the team grew tremendously and we started investing way more. And in August 2022, I think it's an important milestone for us, is the first time when we had a beta. I think it was a bit of a wild idea that I had. Hey, what if we have a beta and we give the community the chance to try out our tool and to give us feedback? And I saw how it grew over time. Last time when we had a beta in February, you had plenty of people reaching out to us with questions, reporting bugs, and I would like to thank everyone for that. We really appreciate that, and maybe we don't say it often enough, but that's one of the reasons why we love working with open source and in the open source world. This year marks an important milestone. It's 1.8 beta. It comes with some cool updates that we will be talking about. But also 2023 is the year when Kubeflow has been accepted in CNCF as a as an incubating as a project in the incubation stage. I think that's why I took the t-shirt from KubeCon. I'm trying to stay on brand this time. And this is great as well. It will help the community grow, and it will give it visibility that to a wider audience. Last but not least, having guidance from such an experienced organization on how to grow the project, how to mature it, is going to help the community even more. Because I see there a lot of enthusiasm, I see there a lot of love for MLOps, and there is only one chance for us to grow together as a community this time. I know, and I found it very interesting that last KubeCon there were two talks, two keynotes actually about Kubeflow. This KubeCon there are other two keynotes about Kubeflow as well, and the only thing that this tells me is actually that Kubeflow as a project is really becoming an important player in CNCF, not only in the MLOps world. But we joined and we met. I made Noha stay until I think it's 7 o'clock for you because she's located in Egypt. Except for DNA, we have the remote first culture in the company, so we get a chance to work with people from all over the world. So we met to talk about 1.8 and its roadmap. It does have updates in all the components. So what's new, Noha? What could you tell me?
Yeah, we have a lot of updates in the 1.8 release. So starting off with pipelines, we have pipelines 2.0 and training operator. We've updated to 1.7, so you could now use the up-to-date version and Kserve 0.11 for model inference. And we have tensor boards 1.8 for these amazing visualizations.
So just to make sure I understand it correctly, we use TensorBoard for visualizations. We use Kserve for model serving. We use pipelines for automations. And what are training operators used for?
Training operators are used for running training jobs. So it's used for model training of frameworks such as TensorFlow, PyTorch, Paddle, and many others.
Thank you. And these are not the only components that actually have news. I know Katib keeps adding new hyperparameter tuning algorithms, which is quite important, I'll have to say, because it gives our users a wider experience and better chances to optimize and fine-tune their models. But also there are news in notebooks and Knative as well. Charmed Kubeflow. For those who are not familiar with it, Noha, I know the stage is yours now, but for those who are not familiar with it, Charmed Kubeflow is canonical distribution of the upstream project. We follow, as you may see, actually, the same release cycle as the upstream project. We work closely with them. I called out Daniela. I'm not sure if she's listening to us, but if she does, hello, Daniela. We miss you in the live stream because last time she joined us as well. So we work closely. She's leading the release in the upstream project. And in general, we deeply care about the community. There are a couple of things that Charmed Kubeflow has in addition to the upstream project. A wide set of integrations with tools such as Grafana and Prometheus for observability, or MLflow that Noha is going to talk about are two of the examples. Then we do security patching, for example, as well as offer enterprise support or managed services for customers or organizations who want to run their AI in production. And now that I introduced Charmed Kubeflow in a very long manner, Noha, what's new in the latest release from our side?
Thanks, Andrea. That was a good brief. So in Charmed Kubeflow 1.8, we introduced multiple exciting features. So starting with the dashboard, we now have a dynamic sidebar enabled. And this means that for any relation that you add to the dashboard, you would get a link in the sidebar. And we also have dynamic notebooks image selector, So this is exciting because you can now use your own images when creating a notebook, not just using a custom image, but even changing the default images that you pick from the dropdown. Another feature is Kubeflow on air gapped. So Kubeflow is now supported to work in air gapped environments. And last but not least is MySQL migration. In the past, we've used MariaDB in the 1.7 release, and now we're migrating to MySQL.
Thank you, Noha. I do have a question here. Why is it? Do you know why it's important for users to have the ability to add new images? Do you think that enhances them to work better in any way?
Yeah, absolutely. This provides a customized user experience so you can add or remove images based on your preference and the stack that you're working with.
Thank you. And then when it comes to the UI on its own, what are the insights that having a dynamic sidebar would help us get actually?
So in the past, the sidebar was static, so you get the Kubeflow components there, but you couldn't add any links to it. And if you integrated with another component, now if you create a relation with another component, you immediately get a link in the sidebar to access it. And you can even add your own links. So, for example, if you want to add a link to maybe some tutorial that's helpful for you or a link to a GitHub repository, that is now possible.
Oh, that's quite cool. This means that basically, except for the fact that we are having an integrated ecosystem, it also means that we are working on showcasing it in a very seamless manner for our customers and for our users as well. Because one thing that I didn't mention, but maybe it's obvious, is that also Charmed Kubeflow is open source. It goes hand in hand with our love for open source. I think one thing that is interesting, and that we've been working on tremendously in this with this release, is also to improve the security capabilities of the tooling. The more we run in enterprise environments, and the more need we have for security. If we think of all the data that Kubeflow has access to, it is very it is crucial actually to get the chance to run on a secure environment. So what we've been doing is actually to build rocks. They are rocking it, and the team is rocking it with them. They are container images that are repackaged with an Ubuntu as DOS, and the result has been incredible. We have 75 less critical CVEs by doing this. It has been an ongoing process, of course, uh, but I think it pays off if we think of all the risks that a user could be exposed for. I'm not sure, no, how was it from a developer experience to work with rocks and to get familiar with them?
It was a very interesting experience, actually. So, the fact that we can now build these images on Ubuntu and get rid of all these CVEs, it is just such a good experience, and the security um, the security in Charm Kubeflow is now taken to another level.
Indeed. Thank you for that. And I saw already a question that I would like to address. Can anyone contribute? I'm not sure if you talk about the upstream project or Charm Kubeflow. The short answer is yes. Anyway, to both of them. And I would strongly encourage you to actually join the Kubeflow community. They have a very vibrant and active um, Slack channel where people talk, share their problems. The community meets bi-weekly to keep in touch. And last but not least, actually tomorrow is Kubeflow Summit. You'll meet us there as well. Not exactly the two of us, but some of our other colleagues. And then when it comes to Charmed Kubeflow, again, you can report all the issues that you find on GitHub. You can share your feedback on Discourse, or you can join our public channel on Mattermost as well.
Yeah, I can add to that that if you go to the Kubeflow/community repository, you'll find the community calendar and you can join community meetings and participate as a developer, as a liaison. There are different roles there.
Thank you. I'll move towards Kubernetes and how the latest release runs on Kubernetes. Charmed Kubeflow is a cloud native application. It runs on Case, but what are the versions that it's running on, Noha?
So 1.8 supports Skates 125 and 126.
That's good news. It means that it runs on supported versions of Kubernetes, right?
Yeah, exactly. So Charm Kubeflow runs on any CNCF conformant distribution. And we even tested with EKS recently, and we have a guide on it on our website.
That's a good point. And it's very important to actually mention that it does run on any CNCF conformant Kubernetes. I do see Samir saying Rock's power. Hey, Samir. Samir is the developer advocate on Rocks. He has been helping us tremendously as well. Thank you for that. What are the highlights of Kubeflow 1.8, Noha?
So Kubeflow 1.8 introduces many features. We can only mention some of them. I would say the most exciting one for me is the PVC viewer. That one enables you to look into volumes like you're just looking into a normal uh, directory or a file structure um, through a UI. So you just open a PVC viewer and you can go through it, arrange the files, move them around, all the file management operations. Another new feature is in Katib, we have more efficient hyperparameter tuning, and we also have MLflow integration. MLflow is a product that's been getting a lot of attention from the community recently. And Kubeflow Pipelines 2.0 that we talked about in the beginning, and it has a lot of new features.
Thank you for that, Noha. And I think the PVC viewer is something very exciting for the community. And I also know that Kubeflow Pipelines 2.0 have been something that we've been waiting for quite some time. Would you have any differences between the previous version and this one?
Yes, so Kubeflow 2.0 supports running the same pipeline across multiple platforms. So in 2.0, we really experience the portability of a workflow.
Okay, that's nice. It also means that we can run more efficiently, which is something that developers always look for. Exciting. I have actually a couple of questions before we move forward. When it comes to Charmed Kubeflow 1.8 beta, it is out there. You can try it out and share your feedback with us. I realize now that I'm hyperlinking things, so it doesn't really help. But if you go on Kubeflow 1.8 beta, you'll get the right links. Or actually, let me see if I can share with you the right link. I also see I get a question about rocks that I cannot skip because otherwise I will get our colleagues mad on us. So what are rocks? Rocks are Ubuntu LTS based container images that are designed to meet cloud native software security, stability, and reliability requirements. They comply with OCI image format specifications and can be stored in any OCI compliant container registry as well. They ensure interoperability between rocks and also other containers, and it extends to how container images are built actually. So it allows rocks to be used as basis for existing build recipes such as Dockerfile, for further customization and development as well. I'm not sure if this has been clear enough, but if not, you can follow up with another question. I do have another question now. Noha, do you think Kubeflow is suitable for laptops with all the updates that we have been having out there?
That is a good question. So I would say yes, you can run it on a laptop, but you would not have the best performance. If you need something that's more resource efficient, you could start with MLflow.
And if we go back to the news, one of the news or highlights that you shared, you can always start with MLflow. It's lightweight, it runs on your laptop, and then you can always move towards Kubeflow integrate the two tools, and you don't even have to do it. There are no requirements on what's necessary the environment to do it or how to migrate it. I'm going to share this useful link here as well. It's very difficult to be moderator and speaker at the same time. We should give more credit to moderators when we have them. I also would like to ask you. You mentioned a bit about your experience as a release lead and how much uh, it helped you grow your career. Is there any other learning that you would like to share with us, or maybe any challenge that you've been having as a release lead?
Yeah, I would say I've had many challenges, especially being my first time as a release lead. Um, so there are many aspects to it. We, as Charmed Kubeflow, are keeping up with upstream, and we are also introducing new features on our side and doing bug fixing. So, kind of doing a plan that encompasses all of this and still commit to the release timeline as upstream was pretty challenging. But the help from the team and experienced people in the community was definitely a plus.
That's great to hear, and it's also important that you took on such a great and big challenge at the same time so early in your career, because maybe we don't talk enough about it in the industry, but the more you let yourself challenge, the faster you grow, I'll have to say. I do have another question regarding the future. By now, you might know me. We've been working together for quite some time, and I like looking in the future. What feature do you think it's worth considering in the next release?
I think the possibilities are endless, really, but I've seen some interest in integrating with Spark, and there's an existing effort for that already, um, as well as integration with Feast, the features store, and also DVC, the version control system. I think versioning is actually an important topic that maybe is not addressed enough in machine learning.
That's a good point, Noha. And actually, you're tackling on another question, because as the ecosystem grows and the integration with MLflow gets a lot of traction, you already mentioned that a couple of other tools that are worth being integrated with. I think another interesting aspect, and maybe it's food for thought for the team, is to think of how we could make or we could enable NVIDIA's NGC containers in Kubeflow in a much easier manner. Of course, that for example, NVIDIA Triton is already available through Kserve, but how can we make it a seamless experience? That would be a question that I have, but I don't think we have an answer right now. Um,
I'm with you on that one.
Yay. Do you think that anyone can join the community, Noha, or do you have to be very experienced as a developer to do it so?
No, you don't need that much experience. I mean, You can learn from other people. That's the most important gain from being in a community, is that you're surrounded by enthusiasts and experienced developers that will point you in the right direction. You could even start with filing an issue or making a pull request and getting some help on it.
Uh, you're right. And I mean, I agree with you. Probably on my side, I didn't join an open source community early enough in my career, even if I wish I did. Um, but it did help me the moment I did join one. And I've seen so many both inspiring but also passionate people. And if there is something that I learned during my early days in open source, was really the importance of doing something that you like. That's why I end up actually switching careers as well, because when you see all these very passionate people about the topic, if you're not, you easily can question yourself on, am I in the right place? And if the answer is no, it's easy. You should always do what you like and follow um, the passions and the interests that you have. At the same time, if your interest is MLOps, I think you're right to join this live stream. You're right to follow communities such as Kubeflow. You're right to try out our beta release. Noha, I realized we never said something. When do we expect the general availability of Kubeflow 1.8?
Yeah, 1.8 stable is expected on October 25th. That's the set date in upstream, and we try to commit to release on the same day as upstream, and we've done that in the past two releases.
Indeed, you are right, and that's great information. We are almost at the time. We have only 3 minutes left because I'm trying to stay conscious of time. But I would like to wrap it up with reminding everyone who's joining us, and I would like to thank also everyone who joined us, that Kubeflow Summit takes place tomorrow. It happens in a hybrid format, so it doesn't matter where you are around the world. You can join us, and you can learn some interesting stories, both from the developers and from the community behind, as well as from users, from organizations, from people who use Kubeflow. I remember last year, one of the stories that fascinated me the most was a company from the automotive industry who's working on different optimizations using Kubeflow, and that's just one of them. Uh, Tomorrow we have organizations such as Roche or Roblox joining us, so I'm quite curious what they have to say. Noha, would you have one last thought before we wrap it up?
I would say just stay committed to the thing that you love and do what makes you passionate and inspires you.
And try out Kubeflow. No, we should all
Oh,
try out
absolutely.
Kubeflow.
Everyone should try out Kubeflow.
I think Noha might have an overdose of Kubeflow after the beta release and after leading the release and looking after the roadmap and fixing bugs and ensuring that everything stays on track. But I
Try it
think that's the
out,
fun.
file issues, join us and comment your experience. We're very excited to hear about your feedback.
Thank you. And that was it. Thank you everyone for joining. And I'll see you soon. Before I forget, actually, in case you didn't see, we are going on a road show. So for the next 5 to 6 weeks, you find us in different corners around the world, ready to talk about Charmed Kubeflow, Charmed MLflow, open source MLOps, large language models, and a bunch of other things. So go on ubuntu.com/ai/roadshow to hear more news about that. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.